Perfect moments shatter like glass, their edges cutting deepest when you least expect it. I stood in my kitchen, holding the bottle of Cristal I'd splurged on for our 20th anniversary, while my husband Marcus lounged on our sofa with another woman's lipstick on his collar. I'm Layla, and this is the moment my marriage died. You're home early, Marcus said, jumping to his feet. His hand knocked over a wine glass, spreading a crimson stain across my cream carpet. The woman beside him, younger, sleeker, everything I used to be, smoothed her skirt with manicured fingers. Obviously. The word tasted like metal in my mouth. I set the champagne bottle on the counter with deliberate care, noting how my hands didn't shake. Not yet. I thought I'd surprise you for our anniversary. Anniversary? The woman's voice lifted in question. Her eyes darted between us, widening slightly. Marcus, you said you were divorced. Of course he did. I almost laughed, but something told me if I started, I might never stop. Instead, I walked to the living room, my heels clicking against the hardwood floors like a metronome counting down to detonation. I'm Vanessa, she offered, as if we were at a cocktail party. I should. You should stay. My voice came out surprisingly steady. Since you're apparently living my life, you might as well hear how it ends. Marcus stepped between us, his hands raised in placation. Layla, honey, let me explain. Explain what? How you've been lying to me? To our children? I gestured around our home, filled with family photos and artwork from Chloe's classes. Or should you explain to her how you've been lying about being divorced? About having a job? About anything? Vanessa's perfectly shaped eyebrows drew together. What do you mean, having a job? Oh, didn't he tell you? Marcus hasn't worked in 8 months. He's been living off my income while pretending to run his consulting business. I turned to him, savoring the way the color drained from his face. Did you think I wouldn't notice the withdrawals? The credit card charges? That's not, I was going to tell you. When? After you moved her into the condo I'm paying for? Vanessa stood abruptly, gathering her designer purse. The condo on Riverside? You said that was yours. It is. I smiled, but there was nothing warm in it. My name's on the deed. I bought it as an investment property last year. He probably has a key because he convinced the property manager he was handling the maintenance. The silence that followed was exquisite. I could almost hear the gears turning in Vanessa's head as she reassessed everything Marcus had told her. Everything she thought she knew about the charming, successful man who'd swept her off her feet. I should go, she said finally, edging toward the door. No, please. I sank into an armchair, suddenly exhausted. Stay. Watch how 20 years of marriage implodes. It's quite the show. Marcus made a strangled sound. The kids are at my mother's. I met his eyes. I called Oliver first. He's 17, Marcus. Old enough to understand what's happening. Old enough to be disappointed in his father. That hit home. Marcus staggered back as if I'd struck him, collapsing onto the sofa. Layla, please. You know what the worst part is? I interrupted, my voice finally cracking. I actually came home early to surprise you. I bought champagne. Made dinner reservations at Le Cirque. Because after 20 years, I still thought we were worth celebrating. The room fell silent except for the tick of the anniversary clock on the mantel, a wedding gift from Marcus's parents. Vanessa stood frozen by the door, her hand on the knob. Marcus stared at the floor, his shoulders hunched. I stood, smoothing my dress. I'll be staying at my mother's. You have until tomorrow to pack your things and leave. After that, I'm changing the locks. I paused at the doorway, looking back at the ruins of my marriage. Oh, and Marcus? Happy anniversary. The door closed behind me with a soft click, but in my mind, it sounded like a gunshot. My mother's house smells exactly as it did when I was 16, lavender and fresh bread, with undertones of safety I desperately need right now. I sit at her kitchen table, watching Oliver help Chloe unpack her art supplies. Their movements careful and measured, like they're handling explosives instead of colored pencils. "He's called 17 times, Oliver says, not looking up from the box. His jaw tightens the way Marcus's used to when he was angry. The similarity makes my stomach turn. Let him. I focus on arranging Chloe's markers by color, though my hands want to shake. Your grandmother blocked his number on her phone. Chloe drops a sketchbook, the thud making us all jump. What if he comes here? Then I'll handle it, my mother calls from the doorway. She enters carrying fresh sheets, her silver hair caught in the late afternoon light. This is my house, and he's not welcome. But he's Dad, Chloe whispers, and the break in her voice shatters something inside me. Oliver moves to her side, wrapping an arm around her shoulders. At 17, he towers over his sister, protective and sure. Dad made his choices, Chloe. We don't have to pay for them. My phone buzzes again, Marcus, of course. This time, there's a text, "Please, let me explain." The kids deserve to hear my side. I delete it without responding, but Oliver catches my expression. He's trying to guilt you through us, isn't he? When did you get so perceptive? I attempt to smile. Around the same time I notice Dad taking longer business trips and making secret phone calls. Oliver's voice is flat. I should have told you. No. I reach across the table, gripping his hand. That wasn't your responsibility. None of this is. My mother sets the sheets down with a decisive thump. Chloe, sweetheart, why don't you help me make up your bed? The blue room has the best light for drawing. After they leave, Oliver slumps in his chair. There's something else you should know. He pulls out his phone, scrolling through messages. Vanessa contacted me on Instagram. The name hits like a physical blow. What? She wants to meet. Says she has information about Dad's finances that you need to know. He hands me the phone, and I read the message twice. My vision blurring at the edges. When did she send this? An hour ago. I haven't responded. He watches me carefully. Should I? I stare at the message, at Vanessa's carefully worded plea for contact. Something about it feels wrong, too convenient, too calculated. No. Not yet. Mom? Oliver's voice softens. What are you thinking? I'm thinking about the condo deed in my name, about Marcus's secret credit cards, about 20 years of trust turned to ash. I'm thinking it's time I did some digging of my own. A crash from upstairs makes us both start. Chloe's voice carries down the stairs, thick with tears. I hate him. I hate all of this. Oliver rises, but I wave him back down. Let Mom handle it. She's good at this part. I manage a weak smile. She had plenty of practice with me at that age. Were you this angry? Different kind of angry. My father died, he didn't choose to leave. The words taste bitter. Your father made a choice. Multiple choices, actually. Oliver's phone buzzes again, another message from Vanessa. This time, there's an attachment, a bank statement with transactions I don't recognize. She's trying to get our attention, Oliver observes. Or setting a trap. I stand, my decision crystallizing. Either way, we're going to find out what game they're playing. But we'll do it my way. We? You're 17, Oliver. Old enough to understand, old enough to choose. I meet his eyes. But if you'd rather stay out of it, I'm in. He doesn't hesitate. Whatever you need. Upstairs, Chloe's sobs have quieted to hiccups. My mother's voice drifts down, soft and soothing, singing the same lullaby she used to sing to me. The familiar melody wraps around my heart like barbed wire. First thing tomorrow, I tell Oliver, we're going to the bank. It's time to see exactly what your father's been hiding. My son nods, and in the fading light, I see the same determination in his eyes that I feel in my bones. Marcus thought he could build his house of lies on our foundation. Now he'll learn what happens when that foundation cracks. The bank statements spread across my mother's dining room table tell a story of betrayal in cold, numerical precision. Each transaction is a knife twist, each withdrawal a new wound. I trace the numbers with my finger, following the breadcrumb trail of Marcus's deceit. "There's more," Oliver says, sliding another document toward me. "Look at the dates." The first major withdrawal happened exactly one day after I received my promotion at work. The day I'd told Marcus we could finally afford for him to pursue his dreams of consulting. 8 months of carefully orchestrated lies, perfectly timed to exploit my trust. $70,000, I whisper, the figure burning into my retinas. That's almost all of Oliver's college fund. My mother leans over my shoulder, her reading glasses perched on her nose. The transfers went to an account in Vanessa's name. Which explains why she's suddenly so eager to talk. I push back from the table, needing space from the evidence of my own blindness. She probably figured out Marcus isn't the wealthy businessman he pretended to be. My phone buzzes, another message from Marcus. "Please, we need to talk about the kid's future. Meet me at the condo tomorrow?" Before I can respond, another message appears, this one from an unknown number. "Mrs. Thompson, there are things about Marcus you need to know. Things that could hurt your children. V." Oliver reads over my shoulder, his face hardening. It's a trap. Obviously. I set the phone down. But maybe it's time we spring it. A quiet voice from the doorway makes us all turn. "Is Dad going to jail?" Chloe stands there, clutching her sketchbook like a shield. Her eyes are fixed on the scattered papers, taking in the numbers that represent her father's betrayal. "Honey," I start, but she cuts me off. "Don't lie to me. Please." Her voice cracks. "I found Dad's letters. The ones from the bank about fraud?" The room goes still. Oliver moves toward his sister, but she backs away. "Where did you find those?" I ask carefully. "In his desk at home. Last week, when he said he was at a client meeting." She hugs the sketchbook tighter. "He was actually meeting with some man about selling the condo. I heard them talking when I came home early from art class." The pieces click together with terrible clarity. Marcus isn't just running a con on Vanessa, he's trying to sell property he doesn't own. That's why he wants to meet at the condo tomorrow, Oliver realizes. He's desperate. My mother's hand finds my shoulder, squeezing gently. "Layla, whatever you're thinking. I'm thinking it's time to end this." I stand, gathering the bank statements. "Oliver, I need you to take Chloe to her art class tomorrow as planned." "Mom, can you?" "No." Chloe's voice is stronger now. "I want to help." "He stole my college fund too." "Absolutely not," I begin, but pause when I see her expression, the same determination I've been wearing like armor these past days. "She's right," Oliver says quietly. "We're all in this together. And I have an idea." He pulls out his phone, showing us Vanessa's latest message, meeting Marcus at the condo tomorrow at 2. Bringing proof of everything. Last chance to talk. "It's perfect," he continues. "You show up instead of Marcus. I'll be nearby with Chloe, recording everything. If they're planning something, we'll be ready," I finish, understanding blooming like darkness in my chest. My mother sighs heavily. "Just promise me you'll be careful. All of you." I look at my children, Oliver's protective stance, Chloe's fierce determination, and feel something shift inside me. This isn't just about revenge anymore. It's about justice, about teaching them that sometimes the strongest thing you can do is stand up and fight back. "Tomorrow at 2, I say, my voice steady. "We'll show Marcus exactly what happens when you underestimate your family." Chloe opens her sketchbook, revealing detailed drawings of the condo's layout. "I made these last week. Just in case." Looking at her meticulous work, I realize my daughter has inherited more than just my eyes. She has my survival instinct too. Perfect, I tell her, and watch hope replace fear in her expression. Now, let's plan this properly. Sleep eludes me at 3 in the morning, so I sit in my mother's garden, scrolling through old photos on my phone. 20 years of memories, all tainted now. Each smiling family portrait feels like evidence in a crime scene. A light flicks on inside, and Oliver appears with 2 mugs of tea. Couldn't sleep either? How did you know I was out here? Saw you from my window. He hands me a mug, settling beside me on the wooden bench. Also, Vanessa sent another message. My fingers tighten around the warm ceramic. Show me. He pulls up his phone, revealing a series of photographs. My stomach lurches as I recognize them, Marcus and me at various charity events, business functions, family gatherings. In each one, Vanessa lurks in the background, watching. She's been following us for over a year, Oliver says quietly. Long before Dad started seeing her. The implications hit me like ice water. This wasn't some chance affair. She targeted us. There's more. Oliver swipes to another image, a document with familiar letterhead. She worked for Carlton Industries before they merged with your company last year. The merger I'd orchestrated. The promotion I'd earned. The extra income that Marcus had immediately started siphoning away. She's not just Dad's mistress, I whisper. She's been playing both of us. A soft creak makes us turn. Chloe stands in the doorway, wrapped in her grandmother's old quilt. I found something too. She joins us, pulling out her sketchbook. Between the pages is a crumpled receipt from a jewelry store, dated 3 months ago. The amount makes my breath catch, $30,000. It was in Dad's jacket when I was doing laundry last week, she explains. I thought maybe it was for your anniversary, but I didn't get any jewelry. The pieces slot together with terrible clarity. He bought it for Vanessa. With money from Oliver's college fund. Oliver's jaw tightens. That's why she's pushing for this meeting. She knows we've frozen the accounts, and she wants her payment. No. I stand abruptly, nearly spilling my tea. She wants leverage. These photos, the timing of everything, she's been building a case against Marcus, probably planning to blackmail him. But now that I've discovered the theft, she needs a new target, Oliver finishes. Chloe hugs her knees to her chest. What are we going to do? I look at my children, really look at them. Oliver, who shouldn't have to carry this burden but does it anyway. Chloe, whose art now fills pages with shadowy figures and broken homes instead of the bright colors she used to love. We're going to change the game, I decide. Oliver, those recordings you plan to make at the condo? We need more than that. We need proof of everything, the stalking, the theft, all of it. I can help, Chloe offers. I have Dad's old laptop. He never changed the password, still uses my birthday. A car passes on the street, its headlights sweeping across the garden. For a moment, I see our shadows stretched across the grass, 3 figures huddled together against the darkness. Mom? Oliver's voice is hesitant. What if this goes wrong? What if we make things worse? I think about Marcus's betrayal, about Vanessa's calculated manipulation, about the way they've forced my children to grow up too fast. It's already worse, I tell him. But we're not victims anymore. Tomorrow, we show them exactly who they're dealing with. My phone buzzes, Marcus again, the kids need stability. Let's handle this like adults. I delete the message without responding. In the morning, I'll call my lawyer, then my bank. But right now, sitting in my mother's garden with my children, I feel something shifting inside me. The hurt is still there, but it's hardening into something stronger. Mom? Chloe's voice is small but steady. Are we going to be okay? I pull her close, reaching for Oliver's hand. We're going to be better than okay. We're going to be free. Above us, the stars wheel in their ancient patterns, indifferent to our small human dramas. But down here, in this garden, we're plotting our own constellation of justice. The realtor's business card feels heavy in my hand as I stand outside the condo, watching Marcus and Vanessa through the window. They're arguing, their shadows dancing across the drawn curtains like puppet shows of betrayal. Everything set, Oliver's voice comes through my earpiece. Chloe has the security feed running. I check my watch, 1:55 p.m. In my briefcase, Marcus's laptop holds every incriminating email, every fraudulent transaction. The jewelry store receipt burns in my pocket like a loaded gun. My phone vibrates. Vanessa, he knows you're coming. Be careful. Mom? Oliver again. Something's wrong. There's another car pulling up. A black sedan slides into the parking lot, and my heart stops. I recognize the driver, James Carlton, my company's CEO. The man whose merger made my career. The man who, according to Marcus's emails, has been quietly funneling company information through Vanessa for months. Change of plans, I whisper into the earpiece. Oliver, take Chloe and go home. Mom, no. Now, Oliver. My voice leaves no room for argument. The front door opens, and Marcus steps out. He looks smaller somehow, his confident swagger replaced by nervous energy. Layla, wait. We can explain everything. We? I move past him into the condo. Vanessa stands by the window, wearing the necklace my children's future paid for. James Carlton sits in my favorite armchair, looking perfectly at ease. Mrs. Thompson, he says smoothly. I believe we need to discuss your recent discoveries. Interesting choice of words. I set my briefcase on the coffee table. Like how you discovered our company's merger strategy through my husband? Or how Vanessa discovered our family's vulnerabilities while working as your plant? Marcus makes a choked sound. What? Oh. I turn to him, feeling almost sorry. Did you think you were the mastermind here? That Vanessa chose you for your charm? Vanessa steps forward, her heels clicking against the hardwood. It wasn't personal, Marcus. Business rarely is. But this is, I say, opening my briefcase. This is very personal. Carlton rises, his facade cracking slightly. Consider carefully what you're about to do, Layla. Your position at the company is secure, I interrupt, thanks to the evidence I've already sent to the board. They're very interested in how company secrets ended up in your private accounts. The room goes still. Marcus slumps against the wall, while Vanessa's hand flies to her throat, clutching the necklace. You're bluffing, Carlton says, but his voice wavers. I pull out my phone, playing the recording from Marcus's laptop, Carlton's voice discussing insider trading, Vanessa confirming dates. Marcus fumbling through corporate documents he barely understood. The board meeting starts in 20 minutes, I tell them. I'm expected to present my findings about the merger irregularities. The only question is whether I'll be discussing 3 conspirators or just one. Layla, please, Marcus steps toward me. Think about the kids. I am thinking about them. My voice cracks despite my best efforts. I'm thinking about how you sold their futures for a chance to feel important. How you let these people use our family as collateral damage. Carlton moves toward the door, but I raise my phone. One call, James. That's all it takes. What do you want? He asks quietly. Everything. I meet each of their eyes in turn. The money Marcus stole, with interest. Vanessa's resignation. Your recommendation for my promotion to COO. And a confession, all of it, in writing. You'll destroy us, Vanessa whispers. No. I gather my things, suddenly exhausted. You did that yourselves. I'm just making sure my children don't pay for your mistakes. As I turn to leave, Marcus catches my arm. I did love you, Layla. Once. I look at his hand on my sleeve, at the wedding ring he still wears like a prop in a played-out drama. No, Marcus. You loved what I could give you. There's a difference. Outside, the sun is setting, painting the world in shades of amber and shadow. My phone buzzes, Oliver sending a thumbs-up emoji. They're safe at home, where they belong. I start my car, leaving 3 broken conspirators behind me. Tomorrow, they'll sign their confessions, and this chapter of our lives will end. But tonight, driving home to my children, I realize that sometimes the best revenge isn't destruction, it's survival. The boardroom feels like a tomb, all polished mahogany and accusing silence. 12 pairs of eyes watch me from around the table, while James Carlton's empty chair screams his absence. My presentation slides wait on the screen behind me, each one a nail in someone's coffin, including, possibly, my own. My phone vibrates. Marcus, please don't do this. I can fix everything. Another message follows immediately, check your email. Now. Against my better judgment, I open my inbox. The subject line makes my blood freeze, Oliver's college acceptance, rescinded. Mrs. Thompson? The board chairman's voice cuts through my panic. We're waiting. I stare at the email, my vision blurring. Carlton's connections reach deep into the university system, of course they do. He's on their board of trustees. Just a moment, I manage, my fingers trembling as I text Oliver, "Are you seeing this?" His response comes instantly, "Mom, don't let them win. We'll figure something else out." But it's not just Oliver's future anymore. Attached to Carlton's email is a document detailing every questionable decision I've made in my career, every gray area I've navigated, every compromise I've justified. He's poisoning my victory before I can claim it. Mrs. Thompson? The chairman again, impatience edging his tone. Either present your findings or... The boardroom door opens. Vanessa walks in, wearing white like some avenging angel. I believe I can help with this presentation. My heart stops. This wasn't part of the plan. She moves to the front of the room, her heels clicking like timer counts. I have my own evidence to present. About Mrs. Thompson's methods of investigation. The USB drive in my pocket feels like it's burning through my skin. Everything I need to destroy them is right there, but using it now would confirm every accusation they're about to make. My phone buzzes again. Chloe this time, "Mom, look at the window." I turn slightly, catching my reflection in the boardroom's floor-to-ceiling windows. Behind me, 42 stories below, protesters are gathering. The merger's opponents, armed with signs and megaphones. Among them, I spot a familiar figure, Oliver, holding up his phone, live streaming everything. As you can see, Vanessa continues smoothly, Mrs. Thompson's accusations are based on illegally obtained information. Actually, I find my voice, everything I have came through legal channels. Including this. I pull out my own USB drive, but instead of plugging it in, I set it on the table. But before we review that evidence, let's discuss why Mr. Carlton isn't here today. Or why his recent stock trades perfectly aligned with leaked merger information. Vanessa's confidence wavers. That's not. The SEC is very interested in those trades, I continue, watching the board members exchange glances. Almost as interested as the press gathering downstairs. "You're bluffing," Vanessa whispers. I pull up my phone, showing her the live stream. Am I? Because right now, hundreds of people are watching this meeting through my son's broadcast. Including, I imagine, several financial reporters. The chairman stands abruptly. "What exactly are you suggesting, Mrs. Thompson?" "I'm suggesting we all take a moment to consider our next moves very carefully." I meet each board member's eyes. Because once I plug in this drive, there's no going back. For any of us. Vanessa's hand trembles as she reaches for her purse. "You'll destroy everything, your career, Oliver's future." "My career?" I laugh, and it sounds almost hysterical. "You people already tried to destroy that." "My family?" Marcus took care of that. My son's future? I look out the window again, where Oliver stands proud and defiant. That's the only thing I'm trying to save. I pick up the USB drive, holding it like a detonator. So here's what happens next. Either we all go down together, or we start being honest about what's really happening in this company. The chairman sinks back into his chair, looking suddenly old. Perhaps we should call a brief recess. No. I plug in the drive, my hands steady now. We finish this. Right here. Right now. The first slide appears on the screen, and the room collectively holds its breath. Sometimes, I realize, you have to be willing to lose everything to save what matters most. The condo's emptiness echoes with the sound of Marcus's pacing. He's been here for hours, waiting, while Vanessa sits perfectly still on the sofa, her designer bag clutched like a shield. The necklace he bought her catches the afternoon light, throwing accusatory sparkles across the walls. I stand in the doorway, holding the final paperwork from the board meeting. It's done. Marcus stops pacing. What's done? Everything. I toss the documents onto the coffee table. Carlton's resignation. The SEC investigation. The board's decision to restructure. I look at Vanessa. Your termination agreement. She doesn't reach for the papers. They can't prove anything. They don't need to. The live stream did enough damage. The stock's already dropping. Marcus runs his hands through his hair, a gesture so familiar it hurts. Layla, please. We can still fix this. Fix what, Marcus? Your lies? The money you stole? I pull out my phone, showing him Oliver's college acceptance letter, the real one, not Carlton's fabricated rescission. Our children's futures that you gambled away? I did it for us, he whispers. To be the man you deserved. No. Vanessa stands abruptly. You did it for yourself. Just like I did. She turns to me, her perfect makeup cracking around the edges. He never told me about the children's accounts. About the fraud. I thought. You thought he was wealthy, I finish. Just like he thought you were his ticket to Carlton's inner circle. You both played each other. And you played us all, Marcus says bitterly. No. I move to the window, looking down at the street where Oliver's protest has dispersed, leaving only truth in its wake. I just stopped playing along. Vanessa reaches for the termination agreement with trembling fingers. What happens now? Now? I turn back to them. Now you both sign these papers. Marcus admits to the fraud. The company drops any charges in exchange for full restitution. The money goes back to Oliver's college fund. And if we don't? Marcus challenges. Then I release everything. The emails. The bank records. The recordings of your meetings with Carlton. I meet his eyes. Including the ones where you discussed how to hide assets during our divorce. The color drains from his face. Behind him, Vanessa quietly begins signing papers. You really want to destroy me? Marcus asks, his voice breaking. 20 years of marriage, and you. Don't. My voice cuts like glass. Don't you dare talk about our marriage. You destroyed that the moment you decided our family wasn't enough. Vanessa stands, gathering her things. At the door, she pauses. The necklace. Keep it, I tell her. Consider it payment for the lesson. After she leaves, Marcus slumps onto the sofa. I never meant to hurt them. Oliver and Chloe, they were everything to me. I know. And I do know, that's the worst part. That's what makes this unforgivable. He picks up the pen, staring at the signature line. What will you tell them? The truth. That their father made mistakes. That sometimes love isn't enough. I watch him sign away our past. That sometimes the bravest thing we can do is start over. When he finishes, I gather the papers without looking at him. At the door, his voice stops me. I did love you, Layla. More than you'll ever know. I think of our anniversary night, of champagne unopened and dreams shattered. Of Oliver's strength and Chloe's tears. Of 20 years reduced to signatures on legal documents. I know you did, Marcus. Just not enough to be honest. Outside, the sun is setting, painting the world in shades of ending and beginning. My phone buzzes, Oliver sending a photo of Chloe's latest drawing. It's us, just the three of us, surrounded by light. I get in my car, leaving Marcus alone in the empty condo with his regrets. Sometimes revenge isn't about destruction. Sometimes it's about reconstruction. Building something stronger from the ashes of what was lost. The papers in my briefcase weigh nothing compared to the freedom in my heart. The realtor's sold sign comes down as easily as our family portraits once did. I watch from my car as she locks up the condo for the last time, thinking about cycles and endings and how some things break so others can heal. My phone chimes, Oliver's college deposit has cleared. Beside it, Chloe's art school tuition sits in a separate account, growing interest instead of collecting dust. The money Marcus returned barely covered what he took, but it's enough. It has to be. Ready? Oliver asks from the passenger seat. He's been quiet today, watching the final pieces of our old life fall away. Almost. I pull out the envelope that arrived this morning, Marcus's last attempt at explanation. 20 pages of carefully written regret, delivered to my mother's house like a confession seeking absolution. Are you going to read it? I turn the envelope over in my hands. Would you? Oliver considers this, his face so much older than 17. I think Dad wrote it more for himself than for you. When did you get so wise? Around the same time I learned what real strength looks like. He glances at me. Chloe's drawing again. Real things, not just shadows. The envelope feels heavier now. Through the windshield, I watch the realtor drive away, leaving behind an empty space that once held so many false promises. My phone buzzes, a text from Vanessa, thank you for the lesson. I delete it without responding. Some debts can't be repaid with gratitude, and some lessons cost more than they're worth. Mom? Oliver's voice pulls me back. There's something else you should see. He hands me his phone, open to a news article. Carlton Industries is restructuring, with a familiar name listed as interim CEO. My name. The board voted this morning, he explains. They said something about appreciating leadership that puts integrity first. I stare at the screen, remembering the day Marcus first encouraged me to take that marketing job. How proud he seemed of my success until it started overshadowing his own. What are you thinking? Oliver asks. I'm thinking about power, I tell him. About how some people chase it while others earn it. And revenge? That too. I start the car, the envelope still unopened in my lap. But maybe revenge isn't what I thought it was. We drive home in comfortable silence, the setting sun painting everything in shades of possibility. My mother's house comes into view, and I spot Chloe on the front steps, sketchbook in hand. She's drawing something new, not our broken family, but the one we're becoming. What should we do with his letter? Oliver asks as we pull into the driveway. I look at the envelope one last time, feeling its weight against my fingers. Then I hand it to him. Keep it, I say. Read it when you're ready, or don't. Some stories don't need an ending to be finished. Chloe runs to meet us, holding up her sketch. It's a portrait of the three of us, but not how we were. She's drawn us as we are now, stronger, closer, our edges softened but not broken. It's not quite done, she says, but I see the truth in every line. It's perfect, I tell her, and mean it. Later, after dinner and homework and the quiet rituals of our new normal, I find Oliver's phone on the kitchen counter. The screen shows a final text from Marcus, I understand now. Take care of them. I don't reply, but I don't delete it either. Some wounds heal better when you acknowledge the scar they leave behind. In my home office, my new CEO nameplate catches the lamplight. Beside it sits Chloe's first drawing from after everything changed, a phoenix rising. Its wings made of broken pieces reformed into something beautiful. I touch the empty space on my ring finger, feeling lighter than I have in years. Sometimes the best revenge isn't about destroying what hurt you. Sometimes it's about building something stronger from the ruins, something that can't be taken away. The night wraps around our house like a blanket, and somewhere in the darkness, I hear my children laughing. It sounds like healing. It sounds like home.